and welcome to my third video for this channel. Today I'm very excited. Um, I have a new camera. I have a background which is kind of cheap, so we'll figure that out later. But I'm super excited because yesterday I saw an amazing movie that I'm going to review today. Citizen Kane. This movie, for the time in which it came out, which was 1941, it felt like it was revolutionary. Oh my goodness, the storytelling is so good. The fact that some of the actors, it was their first time and they did such an amazing job on it. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was shot so very well. Yes, Orson Welles as Charles Foster Kane. And one thing I noticed at the very beginning was there was some narration, and I had remembered from Casablanca that there was narration in the beginning of that. So for me, I'm not sure if this is the case, but it feels like movies from that era, um, they began with narration just to set the scene, to set the plot or the motion of the movie for the audience, which it's fine. It's not, it kind of went over his life a little bit of how he had this amazing like private zoo, called Xanadu, and how he died. And it begins with an amazing shot where it says no trespassing on a fence, and then it pans up to his house. And I love that shot because at the very end it it literally ends with a shot of the house and then panning down to the no trespassing sign, which was super awesome. And the movie, what I loved about the movie was that it was about a reporter who wanted to find out what Charles Foster Kane's last words, Rosebud, what it meant. And it was amazing because the movie was about Charles Foster Kane, but technically it was about the reporter learning about him. And what blew me away was that every time we saw the reporter, it was he was in the dark. He when he was talking to people, he was in the shadow, really close to the camera, so you couldn't really tell or what he looked like, because his name was Thomas, I believe. His last name was Thomas. But it just signified to me that he's not the main character. Yes, he's the one learning, but he's kind of like us in that we are learning about this character through what the reporter is doing. And it's not about him, it's about Charles Foster Kane, and how they show that the reporter is just he's in the shadow. Even when people who are standing right next to him are lit up, he's still in the shadow. And it was just so cool because he was us. He was a representation of the audience, and it was so well done in that respect. And the narration, yes, the narration in the beginning, it was done in a way that once the narration stopped, it was because the reporters were watching like a video, like a little mini documentary on Charles Foster Kane, and that's why the narration stopped. So it wasn't like there was just some, you know, ominous dude talking to the audience. It actually was a part of the movie, and they stopped the narration in a way that it was just like, let's see what happens, and it was just that narration, and how the narration came to an end, and how they explained the narration in the movie was just so very much well done. And this movie seemed revolutionary because of the way things were shot, because of how Charles Foster Kane just seemed to be bigger than everybody else. Even when he was old, he didn't hunch over. He was still standing tall and strong. And the way this movie is shot is amazing because when we first see Charles Foster Kane as a little kid, he's playing outside in the snow, and the camera like zooms back, and it just keeps zooming back because it starts off with just a shot of him playing, and then it zooms back, and then it goes into a window, and then it goes over a table, and then you have his parents talking about the man from the bank. I believe his name was Thatcher, who's going to take Charles Foster Kane from them and kind of bring him up. And the kid is, you can still see through the window in the very back of the shot, the kid playing outside. And it was so amazing because it was like, yes, you are the main focus of this story, or this little scene right here is the parents and Mr. Thatcher talking about the kid, but the kid is still in the shot right there playing. So it just lets you know that it is a Charles Foster Kane movie. And then later on in the movie, I believe they did something that had never been done before, which was they shot through the floor. I believe either that, or they shot, or they put the camera like lower, and they had the actors standing up kind of on a stage, and it was amazing because at the time that had never, I believe that had never been done before, where the camera was looking up, but like it seemed like you were just like an ant on the floor just looking up at these two characters. And even in that part, it was like Charles Foster Kane towered over his friend that he was talking to. And it was just so, like, that scene right there was so amazing. And they do have like scenes, they have regular cuts, but it seemed like Birdman took scenes like that first scene with the kid in the background. Birdman kind of, for me, this movie was, or Birdman reminded me of this movie in that you like, it's just one shot, but Birdman took it to the nth degree, obviously. And another thing that I really liked was how they showed the same scene from two different points of view, where when the reporter is talking to Charles Foster Kane's um, friend about his second wife, you see her in her play, and you see the play from the front, where the friend would be seeing the play, and then later on in the movie, the reporter talks to his second wife, and then you see that same scene from the back. And it's like such a good thing because yes, they go over the same exact scene, but it's from two different perspectives, and it's just showing you that there are many perspectives in about this man's life, and his life with his wife. And what's amazing with his first wife is how they show their progression from like amazing, like, nice couple, where they're just sitting at a dinner table, or I think it's a breakfast, and he just tells her, I adore you more than anything in the world. And then it like fades into the next scene, and it kind of like he starts to be at work more than he is at home. And then in the next scene, like, it fades to another one, and then it just gets worse, and it fades. I think it fades like 3 or 4 times, and then it just goes from like a great relationship to they kind of despise each other. And it's so well done because it shows you that it's not about his relationship with her. That's just a little part of the thing, and they go through it so well, and so like seamlessly. Even though it fades, it's so well done in that it just fades, and it shows you that, like, without showing time, how their relationship went from good to bad. And then with his second wife, he's a little bit older, yes, and it's just he goes from loving her singing to, at the end, he still loves her singing, but she doesn't want to sing anymore. And so, but he loves her enough to not force her to sing anymore. And it's so well done as far as the relationships. And when he's running for governorship, it was like, wow, okay, this dude is cool. It To me, I was talking to my sister, and I was like, man, Charles Foster Kane is like if Donald Trump was cool. If he was like, if he knew what he like, if he was really just a cool dude. That's what Charles Foster Kane, that's what he is. And when he's giving his speech about going to become a governor, he's like, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do because I'm not even sure I'm going to get in. So what's the point, And it doesn't really matter. It's like it felt like it was a little bit of like a mini commentary on politics, maybe in that day, but it's like even so much more in this day, where like I'm not gonna get like all political, but I know that people who are running, they say things, and sometimes a lot of the time they don't even do what they say that they will do. So he's like, I'll make promises, but I probably can't keep those promises, which is so awesome. It's like a timeless thing, in that he understood like politicians and how they worked, and it was just so well done, and that it was just like, it's really funny. This movie is amazingly funny. Charles Foster Kane, Orson Welles is just a like, his comedy is not subtle too. He makes jokes, he makes light of everything, because he doesn't really care about everything. It was so cool. It's like I want to be. I really don't want to care about anything, and I just want to like have fun. And one of the best jokes was where he first took over his newspaper, and he's like, and then Thatcher, his banker, told him, "Look, you lost $1 million last year. What are you gonna do about this? You're losing money." And he's like, "Yeah, I lost $1 million last year. I expect to lose $1 million this year, and I expect to lose $1 million next year." And then he says, "At this rate, I'll have to close the place down in about 60 years." It was amazing, and his delivery is so good that it's funny, and it's not just like comedy for the day. Like when I watch old TV shows, yeah, their comedy is kind of cheesy now, but like, this movie's comedy is still funny today, and that just speaks to how good this movie, and how much it is a classic. Like, it is put up there as one of the best, if not like on some people's list, the best movie of all time, and I could totally understand that. And I loved this movie. I was excited when I finished it, because I was like, this is gonna make for a great review, um, I cannot find anything wrong with this movie. At first, I was like, okay, narration, not the greatest of openings, because it's kind of easy. But the way they did the narration, to where it was in the mini documentary that the reporters were watching, it was like, okay, that's perfect. That's letting me know that this movie knows what it is, and this movie does itself really beautifully well, and the jokes just stay. They're not cheesy even nowadays, and it's just an amazing movie. There's nothing that I could say wrong about this movie. If you have not seen Citizen Kane, please go watch it. um, Score 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, whatever you want to say. I loved this movie. This movie is one of my favorite movies. Now, even after seeing it just once, I realized that this movie was awesome, because it was just a beautiful story, and the way it was told, it was so magnificent. So that's my review of Citizen Kane. If you have any thoughts and comments about Citizen Kane, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. Let's have a discussion. I would love to hear your thoughts, and I would love to. I'm gonna watch this movie definitely many times in the near future, just to get everything I can out of this movie, because this movie was amazing. It was absolutely revolutionary. If you want, you can subscribe to this channel. I will be putting up reviews of classic movies every Tuesday. Um, I've done that. I've done this for the last 3 weeks, and it's been fun so far. So I'm gonna continue to do this. And if I ever, if I grow big enough and people want to see more reviews, than one a week, I will do that. But it all starts with, one person subscribing, and then it grows from there. So if you want to hear more reviews on classic movies, um, subscribe and leave a comment down below on what you want to see next, or you want to see me review next, because next week, I'm not sure what I'm going to review. So if someone comments down below on what they want to see, I might watch it. Probably will. If not, I'll think of something. Thank you.